Hi everyone, and welcome back to my continuing series, Gunpla Shops of Hong Kong. This is part 8, but if you want to watch the rest, then if you click on my channel as you see on the screen right now, then on the right hand side I have a playlist now, and I've actually organised some of my other playlists just so it's a bit more thorough and a bit more specific to some of the series that I'm doing. So right here, Gunpla Shops of Hong Kong, click on that and you'll see I have a few parts in here already. So if you want to keep up to date and see what's happened before, then have a look here. And indeed I'm going to be referring back to a few of these videos where I've been talking about the resin kits and shops in a bit more detail, and in particular on things like instructions on how to get to them. So the videos I'm going to be referring back to are mainly part 2, which is a G system, and then there's going to be part 4, which is Jabo Hobby, and the latest one, which is part 7, and that is the Richmond Arcade Shopping Centre. So do take a look at all of those before you move on to this video, and you'll see all the instructions on how to actually find these shops and what you can expect with some video footage within. So this video I've called the Resin Special, and it's mainly born out of viewer requests. So a lot of you guys have actually been asking me about various model kits and resin kits, to be precise, from all my other videos that I've either reviewed, previewed or showed you some shops of. So this is going to be mainly a video where I consolidate all the things I've already shown just into one video, talk about a few other things, and basically try and sum it up as best as I can to show you whereabouts to go about getting these kits in Hong Kong. Alright, so before we move on though, I do know and realise a lot of my subscribers are basically coming from my tutorial series, so you may be new at this hobby if you're watching, and I thought it'd be a good idea to explain what resin kits actually are, because you've probably, chances are you've heard about what resin kits but don't exactly know what they entail. So quick search in Google will show you something like this. So this is basically what a general resin kit looks like. It's going to be this kind of thing. It's not like Bandai plastic molded snap fit together. So it's going to be kind of tan, and this is a material called resin, hence the term resin kit. And they normally look like this when you get them in a kit. So they will, that's not loading up very quickly, I apologise. They will normally look like this, where they're not on runners, they're all kind of in plastic bags, and normally either shrunk wrap or something similar to that effect. And the thing with resin kits is that they are a lot more advanced and a lot more complicated to build, and as you can see you definitely need to know how to paint in order to really even consider going about tackling one of these kits. And the question then kind of becomes, well, why would you want a resin kit? Because I can tell you straight off the bat they are much more difficult to build, they are much more difficult to get, and even when you do get them, then they're going to be, you're going to need to fully paint them up and spend a hell of a lot of time. I mean, I'd have to guess that you probably need to put in about 10 times more sort of effort in terms of just time, if not skill, to be able to build one of these. So the positives are that resin kits, you're going to get them in much bigger sizes for a start. So a lot of these kits, honestly, I'm going to show you later on in this video where they are literally half a meter high, kits, and well, you'll see one which is about 6 foot high as well, so I'll show you that in just a little bit as well. Secondly, you get a lot of kits which are not available in normal Bandai range throughout the scale, so they're normally quite typically you get kits which are kind of unheard of in the high grade, master grade, perfect grade lineup. So that's the other reason. And last but not least, the main reason for me is that with resin kits you're going to get a lot more detail and styling. So for instance, what you see here, these are G system kits, and this is quite a famous Sazabi G system version. And if you compare this with the master grade Sazabi, or even the newer high grade Sazabi, then you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you look at this and then look at the Bandai one, and you'll realise the difference in terms of proportions, styling, details and everything. And the last thing to debut is that you can't see it in this picture, but this is actually, I believe, a 1:72 scale, which makes it massive. So this is one of those you know, sort of 2-foot high model kits that you're looking at right now. So there you go. That is basically resin in a nutshell, and I could spend probably all day talking about it. But believe me, it's if you're getting more serious into the hobby as you kind of progress on from the plastic kits, and you know, when you want to do more and more, and you kind of you know, get a bit more serious and want to spend a little bit more money, then this is what normally what people normally progress onto. So there you go. So let's move on to the actual shops themselves, which is what, of course, this video is meant to be about. This is a map of the resin kit shops that I'm going to be talking about. So if we go through this in order, we are talking about JB Hobby, which I've talked about in part 4 if you want to see more details. G System, which is actually, I should describe that JB Hobby, they mostly do Neograde kits as well as a few grand model kits and that kind of thing. So they do a lot of large scale kits here, but I'll show you that in just a second. G System, which is, I talk about that in part 2, and they are pretty famous in their own right. So they are the premier kind of resin kit designers, so we'll show you that in just a little bit. Then moving up north, then we've got the Richmond Commercial Building, and this I talk about in part 7, the part previous to this, and this is mostly going to be Super G and other recasters. And lastly, I've got SMS, which I have not actually talked about yet, so I'm still looking to do some footage of that this time around when I'm in Hong Kong next month. So alright, so that's the main 4, and just to give you guys an idea of where we are, we're in the Mongkok area, and if you want to get to all of these, then the closest 3 stations are going to be Yamate and Mongkok Central from the red and green lines, and if you're coming from the blue line with the MTR, then it's Mongkok East. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and these are all going to be somewhere around about a 15-minute walk in between them all, really, so not that far at all. So don't worry about trying to pinpoint all these on your Google Maps, because what I'm going to do is just provide this link here on my YouTube description so you can have access to this yourself. So by all means, take a look in the description, just click on this link, and you'll be able to have all these markers, and obviously go into Street View and get your bearings. Alright, so with that said, let's move on to the individual shops and just show you some footage. Okay, so we'll kick things off with G System, which you can see a few more details of in part 2 of this video series, where I talk about this with a bit more detail. But as you can see here, this is the shop front with a lot of famous mobile suits designs, which I'm sure you don't need me to go through. However, what I would say is that it's a very nice lineup of professional painted suits here, so definitely come along just to even if you don't have the intention of actually buying anything, just to come along and appreciate the quality of work that some of these pros have put into these kits. It's really basically interesting to see and quite inspiring for some of your own workers, I'm sure you'll agree. So whilst there are a lot of impressive kits on display out front, then it's no doubt a pale in comparison to what you'll actually find inside. And basically what you'll find inside straight away is you'll be greeted with this 1:35 scale XS Gundam, and the thing with this is it's actually the size of a small person, so it's actually quite rare to see because G System don't really like people taking videos and pictures, so you'll find you won't find many pictures or videos of this on online. But if you ever do come here, then you will literally be greeted with a Gundam model kit that is actually probably the size of you, so it's very impressive and very expensive. So it's one of those kind of holy grail kits, so yeah, definitely interesting to come along and see. And the other famous model kits that they have from G System is going to be the Kshatriya that you see on the right, and the O that you see right there. And there is still to this day unknown this 1/60th scale, I believe, unicorn, so I still don't know what that is, so if anyone does, then please leave a comment and let me know. But that's basically a very distilled and short wrap-up of G System in Hong Kong. And we're going to move on now to Jabo Hobby, which is probably only about 5-10 minutes away from G System, which is always good to visit both in one go. And you'll see here they do a lot of the more kind of famous resin kits in the larger sizes, so they'll have things like the Nightingale and the Hyper Zeta Gundam, which is one of my favourite kits, and I did do a very long review of that if you want to check out my channel for review. And what else do they do? They do a lot of 1/48 scale kits coming up. This is the Hyper Z, by the way, and you'll see the 1/48 scale kits coming up right about now. And they also do a lot of 5-star stories, Knights of Gold, in a fair few variations. And on the other side of the shop you'll see stacks and stacks of resin kits. And speaking of resin kits, then this shop here is the Richmond Shopping Arcade on the very top floor. The name of the shop escapes me right now, but I know they mostly do Super G and other resin recasts, so I'm not sure. Well, I don't think this is the official Super G shop, rather, because I know it's closed down and they trade online only now, so I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with this shop, but nonetheless it's got a lot of nice Super G kits. And speaking of Super G, since they no longer have an official store anymore, I thought I'd talk a little bit about how you would order them online, basically, and also show you all the other shops I've been talking about. They also predominantly trade online as well, to the worldwide market, obviously. So Super G themselves, actually I should explain, one of the things that we may be finding more and more, unfortunately, is a lot of these kind of bricks and mortar shops might be starting to close down soon. Just the pure rent I know in Hong Kong at the moment is just sky high, so a lot of these shops that make small profit margins, such as model kits, they're starting to basically feel the effects and either downscale or just close down entirely. So a big one of these is the Animate shop, which I think it was part 6 that I showed you guys. Well, that's been going for years, but that's recently closed down in the last half year or so. So it's sad to see, but basically we might be all finding that we're going to need to order online anyway. So with that said, let's move on over to the shops. So Super G then, their actual official website isn't working right now, so I can't show you that. However, I do know that they mostly trade on eBay, because their online shop's a bit sort of unfinished anyway. So they have an eBay shop, and I have ordered off here before, and they seem fine. So nothing unusual about that. Basically, it's just eBay, rules as standard, really. And I would say that the prices here are very good. Some of the best I've seen, actually, for these particular model kits. And I personally can probably vouch for Super G quality, because they're not the proper big boys in terms of original casters. They are basically recasters, so they just copy other people's kits. They sometimes change things up a little bit, but not really, not much. That's more the SMS kind of thing. So let's move on to those guys. So SMS do have a store, as I showed you, in the Ho Hing Commercial Centre right here. The main guy is a guy called Kenny, I believe, and he basically has I think he's in charge of the Hong Kong store, as well as obviously you can see this Facebook page that he's got here as well. So SMS are probably one of the best. I mean, they basically don't just recast kits, although they are a recaster. They will take a kind of popular, well-known resin kit, and they will basically add to it, so they'll make it better, whether that be stylistic changes most of the time, proportional changes, sometimes they add more detail just for the hell of it, sometimes they do variations just because they can, but more often than not you're going to find what they do with kits is they just take an existing resin kit and they add things, you know, like this sort of thing. They just make it better basically. So and SMS quality, I would say, is probably the best that I've seen personally. I mean, I can't say that I've tried an exceptional amount of model kits, resin kits, but of the ones I've tried, then I find personally that the SMS kits are actually the best. So, you know, and well, what can I say? If you look at some of these pictures, then you know you're not getting this kind of quality in your Bandai kits. This is why we buy resin kits, because of all these crazy little details as you see here. So what we're looking at right now, I believe, is the Formania version of the Sazabi, which I talked at great lengths about in a couple of videos ago. So, sorry, several videos ago. So do look that up if you want to see some more details. Alright, so the thing with SMS is I think they trade on eBay also as Gundam Pro Model Store, but at the moment they don't really have an official website that I know is reliable. So what Kenny does is, I think it's Kenny anyway, forgive me if I got the name wrong, but what he does is he basically takes orders through emails. So if you go onto this Facebook page, you'll be able to contact him and do it that way basically. And last but not least, who have been through Jabo Hobby, I don't know if they have a website, I'm not aware of it, so I can't show you that. What I am aware of is that G System are the biggest of the lot. So right here what you see is the G System International website, and they because they're so big, they actually have several shops in several countries, Hong Kong being one of them. But I do know that they are actually originally based in Hong Kong, so you know they tend to do all their stuff mainly from Hong Kong. So here you'll see that these guys, well, I don't own many of these kits because they are so expensive, but they are expensive for a reason, and well, I'm just going to keep scrolling down so you guys get a bit of a flavour, a bit of a taste of what resin kits are all about. This one, interestingly, I'll do this in another video, this is not actually made out of resin. I believe this is actually the plastic, yeah, the plastic injection moulder kit. So this is going to be a little bit like your Bandai sort of style kit, but massive and in a lot of detail. So keep an eye on this one, guys. I will do a video on this when I get some source material. So I'm going to carry on though. All of these rest are going to be resin kits. So I think this is the Penelope Gundam. So and that's the XS Gundam. So yeah, very nice kits. I'm just trying to scroll down to show you guys. Yeah, the I think this is the Z Gundam. So this is one of my main things with resin kits. I mean, the Penelope and the Z Gundam, which I've just shown you right now, they don't exist in any model kit form whatsoever. I mean, I think they exist as kind of robot damashis at the moment, but yeah, there are no model kits at all, and you can see that is a shame, because these model kits are quite interesting. They're kind of like one step beyond the kind of advance of Zeta styling, so that's probably one of my favourite Gundam Sentinel, Advance of Zeta, you know, that kind of thing. One of my favourites kind of era of suit designs, and this being from, and as well as Penelope up here, are actually really interesting to me, and yeah, very underrated series, which is from, well, Hathaway's Flash, so definitely worth seeing. A lot of these you'll find with resin kits, I think almost everybody has a version or several versions of the Hainu Gundam. Definitely one of the most popular designs ever, really. So One thing I should explain with high-tiered resin kits, for those of you who don't know, is that you can get them, especially with these Super G kits, you can get them with full internal frames, so just like your perfect grades, but even bigger and even more detailed. So that's a big thing with Neograde, and that is also why they are the best and most expensive. So there we are, guys. That is my wrap up of my resin kit special. I haven't talked about everything there is to do with resin kits, obviously. I've just kept it sort of localized to do with the main theme of this series, which is what you'll find in Hong Kong. There's probably a lot more to talk about, but I'll save that for future episodes. But if you have any comments and suggestions, then let me know. If you have any anything you wish to see in future, or have me film, in fact, whilst I'm in Hong Kong next month, then also let me know, and I'd be happy to oblige. So once again, everybody, thanks again for watching. If you like this video, then please press like and subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, check out my playlist for the rest of these videos if you want to see a bit more detail of all the shops that I've talked about in this series, in this video so far. So thank you very much.